All right. Good morning, everybody. Looks like we're live, and we're doing our thing again today. So today's Friday the 5th, and as always, I'll be starting out with the schedule. Now, there was another bad storm last night, so I can only assume, at least in my area, I can only assume that there's still some people with electric issues. And because of that, I changed the due date again of the last assignment to Monday at noon. So now you got the weekend. Okay, I know my brother, he's out of electric at least until tomorrow sometime. And there's some other people I know, some customers I went by yesterday. They had no electric. And we were hit where I live pretty hard again late last night. And it was, thankfully we have electric, but there was no issues. It was just real windy. We got some hail, lightning strikes, and all that. And where we live, we can look out my office window right now. I can almost, if it weren't for some trees and some small buildings, I could see Philadelphia Airport. So it's, the sky was just filled with lightning strikes and stuff. It was crazy. So, yeah, because of that, I'm going to move the due date to Monday at noon. All right, so it doesn't look like many people have even done it yet. There was, let's see here, total of 7 people have turned it in. Connor, you're one of them. Kaylin, you're one of them. And, of course, you guys are the only ones here. So thanks for showing up. The people who have not turned this in are probably the ones who don't watch the videos anyway. It is what it is at this point. I wish I could give you guys, you two specifically, some sort of an award of my appreciation for, sitting through all these videos with me and keeping me company while I'm trying to do my job here. So anyway, due date Monday. So we're going to use today as another Q&A. That was the plan anyway, because if the due date was today at noon, you would have today to ask any last-minute questions. But it doesn't seem like you guys are going to have any since you already turned it in. And I'll be grading these starting Monday. And I'll get all the grades in by the middle of next week. So keep in mind, if you guys have consistently turned things in and consistently been showing up for these videos and participating, you're going to be fine. Okay? You have nothing to worry about your grade. Trust me. Okay? You two specifically. So with that in mind, if you do or do not have any questions, this might be today's class. And we'll see what happens. Is the 22nd the last day of school? I forget. Okay, Connor, that's an excellent question. I'm probably the last person to know the actual answer to this, but what I will do is bring up the school calendar directly from the website. Now, while I do this, because it'll take me a moment to click all the links and such, I have an air conditioner unit in the window right now, and if that's been kicking on and off every so often to keep the room in a comfortable temp. So if it gets annoying, let me know. I can turn that off. In the meantime, I got the calendar up. Let's see. So for June, the student's last day. Student's last day is listed as the 18th, which is a Thursday. So not next week, the week after. Okay, today's the 5th, the Friday. So next Thursday is the 11th. The Thursday after that is the 18th. That's a last day for students. I hope that answers your question. Now, as far as what's going to happen next week, I got to figure that out. And in the few days after that, I'm going to plan to teach you some stuff next week. And the following, couple of days, I might do that, leave that as Q&A days for anyone. I don't know. I'm kicking ideas around, but we got to do material next week. The following week, those 3 days or so, we'll see what happens. I'm betting not too many teachers are going to do much of anything. That's my guess. Speaking of which, how are your other classes going? All the other teachers kind of doing something similar? Or are they more hands-off, more hands-on? I'm trying to gauge how I did with this stuff compared to some other teachers that you had. So if either of you guys could give me some sort of rundown of your other classes and how that's been going, live videos, whatever. Interested in like the format of how the teachers presenting class to you guys while we do this crazy thing. Well, Connor, what kind of math are you looking at? Something I can help you with? I do some math every once in a while. Now, when you say it's just videos, are they doing live videos like we are? Or are they doing pre-recorded videos? Or are they stealing videos from YouTube, putting them up and saying, hey, this is your lesson? Well, I did take trigonometry. And there's some things I remember, some things I don't. I may or may not be able to help you. But YouTube, just YouTube stuff? Okay. Connor, do you have anything, because I'd be willing to give it a look. If you have anything that you could send me an email, I'll take a look at the assignment or whatever you got and give you some tips. If I can help at all. I mean, because it's been many years since I've looked at trig, but I was very comfortable with it, certain aspects of it, and I was pretty good. Little story. When I was in the 3rd grade, I went to a very small school. We had like 30 kids per class. Now, I'm not saying per class. I'm saying per grade. So I had, like, my 3rd grade was 30. Okay. And no, they are sending me work in the beginning of the week, and then it is due at the end. Luckily, this is my only core class. I also have gym that I have to do workouts. Wow, I didn't even consider gym. Doing workouts. That's interesting. Man, I didn't even consider gym. That's crazy. So what kind of workouts are you guys doing to stay on top of the gym curriculum? I'd be interested to hear about this. Anyway, so when I was in 3rd grade, small school, 30 kids per grade, okay? So my 8th grade graduating class, I think we had like 32 kids, give or take. So anyway, in the 3rd grade, I was pulled out of class at one point. Me and a couple other students pulled out of class. I didn't know what it was all about. I was in 3rd grade, so I took this test, this aptitude test, and there was like 10 of us, so a third of the grade took these tests. Well, then like 5 or 6 of us skipped 4th grade math and reading. So it would be like, a math class and English. So I was then the following year in 4th grade doing like the history and the sociology and all the other 4th grade classes. I was then leaving and going to 5th grade for the math and the reading portion of my day. And eventually we got to junior high, when now you're going from class to class to class. Different teachers teach different things. You got to, in the hallways, you got to go to French class or Spanish class. You can go to math class, whatever. I was going to a grade ahead for each of those. Oh, getting a lot of comments today. We're not even talking about chemistry. And my wife, again, is nicer to you guys than me. So back to my story. So anyway, in junior high, I was, 6th through 8th grade. I was going to the next grade up for those 2 subjects. And in 8th grade, that's when the school stopped. I would have to go to 9th grade in a whole nother district, being a small school. So we had a particular teacher that was teaching us. There was like 4 of us at this point. It got whittled down. The only 4 of us survived this not advanced, but the next level, I'll call it that. So I'm in 8th grade and I'm learning high school algebra and trigonometry. And then I was a bad student at that point. I'm not going to lie. I got my straight A's in junior high, and I was like, I got nothing to prove, whatevs. You know, I honor roll and all this and that. And then I just kind of gave up because I was so bored with school. When I got to high school, well, let me rephrase. The summer between 8th and ninth grade, I still had a little bit of that of wanting to do good in school, but it was fading fast. So I took a summer class to get even further ahead. So now in between 8th and ninth grade, I'm taking 10th grade math, okay? My ninth grade year, I'm taking 11th and 12th grade math. So I was taking like calculus, advanced algebra, and calculus in my ninth grade. I was that guy. Ugh. But it was fading fast. I had no interest in it because it was so boring, and I just didn't really care about high school. Then in my 10th grade, I'm like, forget this. I'm taking math classes that aren't on my high school transcript. So I had all the prereqs to take the courses, but I didn't want to take anything difficult. So and basically we ran out of math classes for me anyway. I was one of like 3 people who fit in this situation. And I was so bored with it. I was like, let me go back and take some easy math classes that I found extremely not difficult. They were not on my high school transcript, so I'll get credit for math classes, but I'm not challenging myself. So I'd already had advanced trigonometry, algebra 1 and 2, and calculus. In my 10th and 11th, 12th grade year, I'm taking like geometry, which was well below the level I should have been taking. And, I reviewed some trig and this and that, and it is what it is. So I have an aptitude for math. I haven't really studied that kind of thing in a long time. But again, Connor, if you want me to look at it, feel free to send me an email, and I'll see what I can do for you. No promises, though. All right, Kaylin, you're checking into, you have gym, walk around a bunch, everything core. We have to do 30 minutes cardio workout. I have to, workouts, full body workout, lower body. So how are you on the honor system? Like, is the gym teacher just saying, okay, like, yeah, you did it, or do you have to record it? Is there like a Fitbit involved? What's going on? How are they giving you a grade for this? This is interesting. I never thought of gym. I'm in my own little world of just the here's information, you tell me how to use it kind of class, like science. That's kind of what I'm stuck in. I guess with English, if you're taking an English class, there's a lot of just essays and reading and writing and things like that. I could see that working in a distance, and I can see something like a history class working, but I never considered gym as part of online learning. Man, that's tough. All right. It's been 15 minutes, and I've done nothing but talk about me and gym class. So I'm going to back away, okay? Keep in mind that the assignment has been rescheduled to be due on Monday, all right? And that way it'll give you guys – well, you already did it. But it'll give everyone else a chance to get their electric back working if it's still an issue. This way there's no excuses, and we can all just move on with our lives. And starting on Monday, we'll be discussing other things that may not be so intense. Okay, we'll take it easy, but we'll talk about some stuff. It's on Edpuzzle. There are some videos where you have to answer questions within the video. Then some days we have to do something for 30 minutes. Then we have to prove, like Fitbit. Okay. I guess that makes sense. You're getting your physical education. It is what it is. All right, cool, guys. I'm going to go away, and I'll let you guys, get on with your day, and look for 8 a.m. on Monday. Of course, that's weather dependent. While I'm thinking about it, let's check the weather. I do a lot of my work in Cherry Hill, so I'm going to check the weather there. And if for some reason we have some crazy rainstorm in the afternoon, like we've done in the past. Thankfully, I haven't had to do it too much. Monday is going to be a mostly sunny day, so we're good. The only day next week might be Friday the 12th, but that's so far away it's hard to know. So, yeah, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. on Monday. All right? Cool. I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Make sure you hit that Fitbit. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, what's going on, everybody? Whoever's here. So, today is Friday, and I should be putting up an assignment later today to get you rolling on the last assignment for this unit, and technically the the last big assignment of the whole course. So, we will be wrapping up the unit today with an example question, and then I will be putting up that assignment on Google Classroom. And you'll have several days to do it. I won't force you to get it done in 24 hours, 48 hours. It'll probably be due like Wednesday or Thursday next week, which will open up the opportunity for all our videos and time together next week, be Q&A, and that will help with covering the material even further while having the assignment out there. It only makes sense. So we'll be doing 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. like we have been. Consider that the schedule for all of next week as well. Unless something happens, we'll see what happens. All right, so what's going on, Matt? I see that you're here. And, yeah, So we might as well get started. All right, so now what we're going to be doing today is this question here. Now, this question is a long, wordy question. It's not a fun question to do, but this is the last question. So let's take a look at it. All right, so I'm going to have to make this screen a little bigger so I can see it. Let's see here. All right, so it says an unknown chemical is found in the lab. So you're in the lab. This is an experimental thing. You have to put yourself in the scenario of actually being part of a laboratory, and you're going to be doing an experiment. So you analyze it, and you find that this substance, whatever it is, has a following composition. It's 69.68% potassium, so I'm going to write that down. Actually, why would I bother doing that? It's right here in the question. So we got potassium, some oxygen, and some hydrogen. All right. The chemist then took 9.89 milligrams of that chemical and combined it. So it's a combination reaction or some sort of, it's probably not a combo reaction, to be honest with you. He just put it in the same container. So we got 9.89 milligrams of that chemical, and we're going to react it with 1.50 moles of ferric sulfate. Now, ferric sulfate is the same thing as saying iron 3 sulfate, so we'll come to that when we get there. The chemist was able to successfully collect 35.7% of the precipitate. All right, so it's a double right then and there. That tells you. So now we're going to focus on the precipitate. All of that precipitate, the 35.7%, was then used in a second reaction. See why this is long. All of the precipitate was decomposed over heat to make an iron-containing product and something else. If the second reaction had a 57.3% yield, how much of the iron-containing product in milligrams was collected? So we have a long question here. This question, you take the product from one reaction and use that as a reactant in another, and then you analyze the products of that reaction. So there's going to be like a chain here that we got to come up with. So let's go back to the question. Now, it says an unknown chemical. We know their percentages. The chemist then took that and put it into a reaction. So we need to first take these percentages and figure out what the formula is. Now, with potassium, this is going to be an ionic equation. So we don't need to figure out the molecular mass to get to the molecular formula. The empirical formula is the formula. It's lowest whole number reduced. So let's start by figuring out what the formula is. To do that, we got to do some work for potassium, oxygen, and hydrogen. All right? And if you think back to Unit 6 when we learned how to do this, we just took the percentages and we switched them to grams. And we did that for all of them. So 28.517 grams. And hydrogen is 1.797. Now, we should be doing some predictions here, okay? My guess, because I haven't looked at this question in over a year, my guess is that this is, since it's potassium, oxygen, and hydrogen, is that it's KOH. That's my guess. We'll see. All right, we're going to figure it out. All right, so there's two ways to do this. Either we could take our guess and figure out the percentages and see if it matches, or the proper way would be to take the percentages and figure out the right formula. So we're going to convert each to moles, and then lowest into each, and so on, just like what we did. So grams, 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 convert each to moles. I'm trying to write tiny, but it is what it is. All right, hydrogen has a mass of 1.00794. That looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. Oxygen is 15.999, and potassium, I do not recall. I need to get a big periodic table. Finally got my calculator, but if I'm going to be doing this again in the fall, which I have no idea what's going to happen in the fall, I will be purchasing a periodic table, or at least stealing the one from school. Potassium is 39.09. I'll leave it at that. Got my calculator. Let's do some math. All right, like that's exciting. So we got, for potassium, 69.687 divided by 39.09. Got to turn the calculator on. 69.687 divided by 39.09. And I got, with sig figs, 1.78. 5 sig figs, 2 more. 27. And that's going to be in moles. All right? Sorry. Oxygen, 28.517 divided by 15.999. I get, look at that, 1.7824. And 1.797 divided by 1.00794. Look what we get. 1.7828. Look how close they are to each other. So if you were to divide the lowest into each, you're going to get 1 here, but you're going to get 1 for each of them since they're so close to each other. Okay? That means I need 1K, 1O, 1H. So my guess was correct. Look how awesome that is. So we're dealing with potassium hydroxide here. So now that we know what the mystery chemical is, all right, we got to then put it into our first reaction. You got to read between the lines here. The chemist took 9.89 milligrams of the chemical and combined it with 1.50 moles of ferric sulfate. All right, so here we go. Let's make our balanced equation. Ferric, again, is iron 3. All right, so I got iron 3 sulfate, and it's a double, but I got 9.89 milligrams of this guy, and was it 1.5 moles? 50 moles of that. All right, let's do our switcheroo here. K2SO4 and FeOH3. All right. Now, having said that, let's see what he did next. The chemist was able to successfully collect 35.7% of the precipitate. Well, if you do the math, you're going to see that this is the precipitate. In other words, if you check your solubility rules, that's what I should have said. So 35.7% of that was collected. All right, so here's what we need to do. We're going to need to figure out what the actual yield is in order to use that in the second reaction. Well, to figure out what the actual yield is, we need to first figure out what the theoretical yield is. Because we got the percent. If we know the theoretical, we can backtrack and figure out what the actual is. So we need to do some math here. Some math for KOH, and then some math for the iron 3 sulfate. I'm going to kind of, you know what? Let's do this. Let's take my head and put it up here. How's that sound? Yeah, that works better. All right, so now I got more room. Fe2SO4 with a 3. Okay, let's do the stoichiometry for each. Figure out which one is the excess and which one is the limiting. That will then be linked to your theoretical. So I got 9.89 milligrams. Different things are being started with, so we got to figure that out. Now, one thing I haven't done yet, this is almost a mistake. We haven't balanced the equation. All right, notice that that's going to be a big deal. Well, I'm going to put a 2 here, a 6 there, and a 3 here. That should fix everything. 6 potassiums, 6 potassiums, 6 hydroxides, 6 hydroxides, 2 irons, 2 irons, 3 sulfates, 3 sulfates. Let's check the chat and see if anyone did that. Nope, no one mentioned it, but I do see a hi from Zach. So I got Matt and Zach here. All right, cool. All right, so milligrams. Let's get rid of milligrams. Let's go to grams. We'll do grams to moles. And we're going to the precipitate. So 6 moles of that gets me 2 moles of that. I'll figure this math out, but I can quickly set this up while I'm thinking about it. It's 1 mole to 2 moles. So this one's easy. 1.5 times 2 will get me 3.00 moles. All right. Now, let's figure out the molar mass for potassium hydroxide. If I still had that work written up there earlier, I could probably just eyeball it, but I don't recall. So The molar mass for potassium hydroxide, which is a very common compound, is 56.11. That's what I'll go with. 56.11. All right, calculator time. Make sure it's on. So I got 9.89 divided by 1,000 divided by 56.11 times 2 divided by 6. Very small number. 3 sig figs. I got 0.0000588. Is that all on camera? Yep, good enough. All right, so looking at this information, this is going to be your theoretical yield. This is your limiting reactant, and this is your excess reactant. All right, that's nothing new. We've done that for a couple days now. Now, before I do go any further, I want to ask you guys a question. Almost off topic. I put a window AC unit in my office, and it's kicking on and off, and let me know in the chat if it's annoying or if it's hindering the audio in any way. According to my software, it doesn't seem to be making much of a difference, but I can't actually hear it. So let me know in the chat if it seems okay, and I'll just leave it on because I don't want to get all cooked while I'm teaching. The office is right in the sun. It's pretty hot. All right, so good. So, Matt, you don't hear anything? Very good. Sorry. All right, so sound seems okay. Cool. That's good to know. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to call this my theoretical yield like I did, but I'm going to keep track of that. So I know that this is my theoretical yield, right? Okay. Of the precipitate. Okay. Now, I'm only going to collect 35.7% of that. So let's erase all this work. Normally you would have room on your paper to do that. And we got your percent yield, which is 35.7. And that's going to be the actual yield up top and the theoretical yield in the bottom. Our theoretical yield is we need to calculate the actual yield. And in the actual yield is what's used in the next reaction. So what we're going to end up doing is divide that by 100. So we got 0.357. And then we're going to multiply each side by that, getting the actual yield by itself. So I don't know if you guys can see me do this work, because if you can, I'm not even going to bother setting up the, what do you call it, calculator cam. That's a pain. I think you guys can see that, right? That's of a reasonable resolution. Yeah, I'll leave it like that. Okay, so what we get for our actual yield with 3 sig figs all the way around, I got 0.000210 moles of iron 3 hydroxide. Yeah, that's reasonable. Okay. So, I'm going to write that here. Actual yield. 0.000210 moles. Keep your units straight, otherwise you might get confused. And we know it's of iron 3 hydroxide. Now, we're only about halfway done this question, okay? This, like I said, is a longer question. So it says the chemist was able to successfully collect 35.7%, which you already figured out, all of which was used in a second reaction for further testing. So let's erase this stuff because now this is irrelevant. And we know that we have let's do it this way. I got iron 3 hydroxide, and I got 0.000210 moles. Right? So now this is the basis for the next reaction. Okay? Let's see. This precipitate was decomposed over heat. Okay. Decomposition reaction. The heat is just a hint, whatever. It produces an iron-containing product and another product. All right, now we need to figure out what the actual products are. This is going to be a little tricky because this is the guess and check. So I'm going to start with iron. It's iron 3, oxide, and let's try water. All right, I got hydrogens and oxygens and everything there. So according to this, let's see if I can balance it. Let's fix your irons right off the bat. 2 irons. Okay, now, it looks like I have 6, right? 3 times 2 oxygens. So I got 3 right there. I need 3 more over here. So let's put a 3 there. Now, my oxygens are good, so are my irons. Let's check your hydrogens. I got 3 times 2 is 6. Here's 6 right there. All right? It kind of just worked out. Some people might try this. All right, you would have to check to see if that's balanced or not. But what I can tell you is if there's more than one right answer, you would get credit for any correct answer possible. And that's entirely up to you to figure out. But this is what I would go with in this situation. Okay? All right, so it says if the second reaction had a 57.3% yield, how much of the iron-containing product in milligrams? All right, so it's 57.3%. That's not how you do a percentage. We want to know what is the actual yield in milligrams. So that's what we're trying to figure out. All right. One more calculation in stoichiometry and then a final percent yield formula. So no big deal. So we got 0.000210 moles of this thing. And you can label it as such, entirely up to you. It's already balanced, so I go 2 moles of this thing to 1 mole of this thing. Now I switch the chemical. All I got to do is get to the correct unit. So 1 mole of that gets me to grams, and then one last step gets me to milligrams. You do your math, you get your answer. So let's figure out molar mass for that. This we could probably do without a periodic table. Each iron is 55-ish, so it's 110 plus 16 3 times, which is 48. So 110 plus 48 is 158-ish. Okay, close enough is close enough. At least in this case, you will try to be as accurate as possible. Do better than me. All right, so what do we got here? We got, turn the calculator on, 0.123210. And it's divided by 2 times 158 times 1,000. See if you guys can see that. I got 16.59. With 3 sig figs, I need 16.6. All right, so this would be your theoretical yield. Remember, your theoretical yield is what comes from the math. Your stoichiometry determines. So anytime you do this, that's your theoretical. Your actual yield is from an experiment. Well, we're not doing an experiment. The chemist is. The chemist is kind of telling you the story, and you got to put yourself in that position. We need to figure out the actual yield. That's the final question. So we know we got a theoretical yield of 16.6 milligrams, right? So if we got a theoretical yield of 16.6 and a percent of 57.3, we could figure out your actual. Your last step is going to just do that percentage calculations like we did a moment ago. 16.6 milligrams, actual yield, come out to be in milligrams because that's what this guy is in. Okay, just the units stay together. Times 100. So you got to divide each side by 100. And I get 0.573. And you're really just going to multiply. You're getting the actual yield by himself, like we did a few moments ago. So 0.573 times 16.6. And I get 9 point, with 3 sig figs, 5.1 milligrams. All right, how much of the iron-containing product in milligrams was collected? Well, that is your actual yield. That would be your final answer. That's what you would circle on the paper test in school. That would be what you put in the Google assignment. This is really 2, maybe 3 questions. Okay, would you need to put the 2 before the iron? Zach, Matt, give me some context to your question. I'm a few minutes behind because I wasn't looking at the chat when I was solving this question. So let me know what you're talking about, and we can answer that question. If you mean in the stoichiometry, when you're going, moles and this and that, from moles to grams, you don't have to put the 2 there. The only time the 2 matters is when you're doing that one step in stoichiometry where you're converting units. No, you don't have to bring it over from the previous question because that was for that balanced equation. This is a new balanced equation. All right, each balanced equation is separate from each other, and that ratio only works in that equation. Don't bring it over from another one because now your math is going to be all wrong. And the last step in balancing anyway is reducing. So if you do have a 2 there, you'd have to reduce everything anyway. You get back to what we had. All right, cool. Got a thumbs up. All right. Any questions? Because that was a tough question. We're still on that one. Let's go to this screen here. All right. So we are finished with the unit. I mean, that was the hardest question you'll probably get from me all year. And, everything was gearing up to these multi-step stoichiometry applications. Okay. So you guys have any questions? If not, I will back away and then go put that assignment together for you. And like I said, it'll be due middle end of next week. I'm probably going for Thursday. We'll see. I put an assignment up for my other class and have given them multiple days to do that. Out of 25, 26 kids, 7 have turned it in since Monday. And, it is what it is. It just so happens to be the same people who show up to the videos every day. So there's that. So if you guys don't have any questions, like I said, I'm going to go work on that. So I'm going to spend time getting that figured out. It'll be up by like 11 o'clock at the latest because I got to start from scratch. But what I'm going to be doing is taking a test that I would have given you in class, kind of manipulating it to make it work more for online, just like we've done before. But that practice quiz test thing that I put up on Google Classroom yesterday, it's going to be real similar to that, okay? That's kind of the basis. All right, cool. Still no questions. I've stalled long enough. I'm going to go away. You guys have a good weekend. Hopefully everybody's safe and you got some got electricity with the storms and everything. Yeah, Matt, or Zach. I'm getting you guys mixed up. Jeez, I'm sorry. I'm seeing Matt and Zach at the same time. All right, so, I'll be pretty liberal with the partial credit because of the situation. I'm not going to just, wrong answer, done. I will probably look into it a little bit further and, the situation is what it is, so we got to work with it. But, yeah. Sorry, I got poison ivy on my ankle. I'm scratching the hell out of it. All right, I'm going away. I will see you guys Monday. Okay? Cool. Stay out of trouble. Be safe. Have a good one.